Yesterday, I posted a YouTube rewind for 2020, Islamic Apologetics Edition. But 2020, like every other year, featured a massive array of Islamic terrorist attacks, so I thought it might be good to add a Jihad edition. Now, if I tried to make a video that took the time to so much as name the victims and the locations of the Islamic terrorist attacks in 2020, it would be far too long for anyone to watch, so I'm just going to scroll through the attacks from this past year. Notice that unless you follow a site like thereligionofpeace.com or Jihad Watch, you've only heard about a few of these attacks. The overwhelming majority of Islamic terrorist attacks just aren't mentioned by Western journalists. Notice also how determined jihadis are. They just keep coming at anyone who doesn't adhere to their version of Islam. This is something that hit me when I read Robert Spencer's book, The History of Jihad, From Muhammad to ISIS. I had been studying jihad for years, but most of the material in that book was new information to me. And there's a reason for that. When I studied jihad, I studied the life of Muhammad and the campaigns of his companions, and I followed news about terrorist attacks in our lifetimes. But I didn't focus much on the nearly 14 centuries in between the life of Muhammad and modern jihadis. When you go through the complete history of jihad, you see just how relentless it is. Century after century after century, jihadis don't stop coming for you. But we ignore most of the history of jihad, and we ignore most of the attacks that are being carried out in the world today. We have to, because if we paid close attention to the history of jihad, and if we paid close attention to the attacks that are being carried out in the world today, there's no way that politicians and journalists and educators and entertainers would be able to defend and promote the ideology that's given rise to this endless assault on the entire world. So we have no choice. Our culture has to marginalize people who draw attention to the relentless nature of jihad. We have to call these people racists and bigots and hate-mongers and Islamophobes. We have to ban their content from social media. We have to get them demonetized and deplatformed. Meanwhile, the jihad marches on, beheading after beheading, shooting after shooting, bombing after bombing, kidnapping after kidnapping, forced conversion after forced conversion. And while you and I may work tirelessly to expose it, every major institution of power and influence is protecting and promoting it. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, governments, international organizations, media companies, Hollywood, their hands are covered in the blood of the victims of Islamic terror. And that blood doesn't come off easily.